developer says that EA tried to make their character more sexy. Assassin's Creed is losing staff and possibly getting delayed. And Jackie Chan just turned down Rush Hour 4. This is crazy. This is the Unlikely Geeks. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Yambo, one half of the Unlikely Geeks. And as you see, I'm here alone again today, but don't fret, because tomorrow, me and Joe are doing a recap of everything that happened. I lie. I'm a liar. Me and Joe are going to talk about everything that is coming out next month, just like we always do at the end of the month. But today, we got a lot of stories to go into, so I want to get into them as quickly as possible, and we'll catch up at the end. Starting off with Steam controllers have just been announced. They've been reviewed. And they're not coming out until next month, but people in the industry have played it, have played with it, and have given us their reviews. It's been getting straight 9s out of 10s, 10s out of 10s, 8 out of 10s. Everyone is loving it. Right now, the release date is going to be May 4th, 2026. It's going to cost $100. And this is the new remote from Steam PC Gaming that is going to work in a custom with the Steam box that they will introduce, release, and price in the future. So with this remote being $100, the same way that most people were thinking, you know, everybody that was thinking that the Steam box is going to be, the Steam machine was going to be what, $1,000, $800? Maybe they're right there as well. But this new next generation remote will feature magnetic thumbsticks with TMR technology. I don't know what TMR stands for. Full-size controls, trackpad, grip buttons. They're going to have buttons in the back as well. You're going to have wireless chargers for a wireless transmitter for a stable connection. And then the charging station clicks magnetically. You have about 35 hours of gameplay on it. So again, people are loving this thing. It says it feels right, even though it doesn't have the natural joysticks that one will be accustomed to. There's just going to be two buttons, two touchpads here. So very exciting. As somebody who is getting into PC gaming and who really wants a Steam machine, it's something I'll probably end up buying well in the future. Hopefully it doesn't go up in price when the Steam machine comes out, as everything has been going up in price. So that could be scary to see and not purchase early. So who knows if I do purchase it early or not. Next is Assassin's Creed. They just announced the new Black Flag remaster, ground up remaster. But also, I'm here to talk about the drama first. So Assassin's Creed Hexe, the game developer Benoit Richer, has announced his departure. He's left Ubisoft to go for Servo Games as co-founder and game director. Bennett has been there since 2000. That's 26 years. He worked on Rainbow Six Vegas 2, which is one of my top 5 favorite games ever. He had left for a while, and he worked on Batman Arkham Origins for WB Games Montreal, and that game was great. It's underrated when it comes to all of the Batman games that they made, but it is one of their great games, great story. And he came back to work on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is my least favorite Assassin's Creed game, but also one that I spent hours and hours, like hundreds of hours in. So, to each its own. Is it a good thing that he's moving on? It's more like a bad thing. I've heard a lot of rumors. We'll talk about it soon. This is, again, his second departure. The second person who has left, Clint Hawkins has already left, and John Guston had replaced him. They also said about 50 staff members have been moved into an inter-project team, suggesting that they lowered the budget of the new game Hexe and possibly delaying it till after June 2027. So the new guy who came in, apparently he came in and was like, hey, I don't like all of these gimmicky things. You were supposed to play as a cat in the new Assassin's Creed Hexe game, but he got that removed. That was going to make the game a little bit different. It wasn't going to be as RPG heavy, but who knows what's going on there. With what they announced with the new Black Flag, can't talk today. It's the retainer. the Black Flag Resync that comes out this July. Um, they're taking a step back from the RPGness of it all. So who knows if that's the way moving forward? The way this new game looks compared to the old game. I am one of those people who didn't love Black Flag as much as everybody else did. It's a great game. I played the heck out of it. I didn't like the boating stuff. I don't like, how slow it was to ride the boat. I don't like doing the boat fights. That was never the ship fights. That was never my thing. I like being on the ground, jumping from building to building, like the real Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, type deal. So they're remaking this. It's cool, but it's not my favorite thing in the world. I love the voice actor. He also played, what's his name? I forgot his name. From DC, the witch guy, Constantine. He also played Constantine in the cartoon, and the actual TV show that they made. He's the voice of that guy and the main actor for when they did the Constantine show. So he's coming back, recording new lines. They're doing a bunch of stuff to add to it, so make people want to play it more again. They did take out the multiplayer, which I thought was really good. They are not doing the DLC. I think it was called Freedom Cry, where you played as the black character, the other pirate guy that was there with him, his partner in a way, that he meets when he gets into the main ship. You get to play a storyline there that they're not remastering. They might in the future, who knows. But when it was announced and shown off, and they showed the game looking from old to new, and it looked amazing. I mean, the graphics look great, the water looks great, everything looks great. They didn't show no blood. So immediately, right after the announcement and the trailer and everybody's real hype about it, people were asking, did they remove the blood? Like, what's going on? The guy said, listen, we had to take the blood out because it was going to be too much for the presentation. But rest assured, there will be blood in the final game. It was just toned down. This similar thing happened with Resident Evil when they teased it on the Switch. They removed the blood for, Switch purposes and showing it off. But the game still had an abundance of blood and gore and things like that. Assassin's Creed, nope. Aliens Isolation 2 has been teased. This is Sega and Creative Assembly. They teased it. The video's titled A False Sense of Security. And it dropped on Alien Day, which was yesterday, the 26th. What was shown was it was a rainy outdoor setting, emergency phone save station, which was where you saved in the original game. So that's coming back. They haven't officially announced it. This is just a teaser. So they never actually said the name Alien Isolation 2. But they have talked about making the new version, the new game back in 2024. And so people are expecting it to come out really soon. The first game, I still haven't beat. I bought it. I think I bought it like 3 different times. That game's always on sale for like $10 or $5 or even less. On Steam and things like that. So I highly recommend playing it, buying it. That game, the graphics are incredible. They have an overlay on it that makes it look like an old school movie. And I believe it's kind of a pseudo sequel to the original movie without taking into consideration the movies that came after it, right? So you still play as the main character from the first game, and things like that. Hella scary. It's one of the first games where you're playing as a character that's just running away from a character that you really can't kill. You can't kill the alien. You just got to hide from him. I got stuck in a part where you're fighting the robots, right? And they're chasing after you. And then on top of that, you still got the aliens chasing after you. So you could kill the robots. I just couldn't. They're hard. This game is hard. So I never beat it. I intend to one day. Won't be today. Won't be anytime soon. I still have to do Mouse PI, Crimson Desert. I still played here and there, even though I beat that. Soros is coming out at the end of the week, and that's on my radar. But before that, I'm playing Returnals just to get the hang of that kind of game again. So there's a lot coming out, a lot going on. We'll talk more about that tomorrow when Dro's back. Speaking of other games in the past, this isn't a huge story that I haven't seen talked about a lot, but I wanted to mention it here because it was a game that I really, really enjoyed. Alice Madness Returns. right? The Alice in Wonderland games are rated M games from American McGee. He explains that he had conflict with the EA marketing team, and he wrote a long X Twitter. He wrote a long post about that. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it can get pretty boring. Very interesting, but me reading it would be boring. So I suggest you read it yourself. But he said things like, "It would be fair to say that there was a disconnect between the game I wanted and what game EA marketing wanted. Marketing wanted a hard M title focused on gore, horror, and psychotic Alice. I didn't want to portray Alice as psycho, cover her in blood, and make things more sexy. So what he did was he created artwork that showed a character, a giant snail, having like a unicorn head, except his unicorn was something I don't really want to talk about here, but it's a female tool when they're, trying to have some fun on their own. You guys get what I'm saying? So he mixed those two together. He sent it to the team, and then they stopped asking for a sexier game. They stopped putting their input in that way that would change his original vision of the game, right? So they could say no to whatever EA demanded. And because of that, EA said no to an extra month or two for polishing. He thinks it was out of spite. So basically, because he didn't want to agree to what they wanted him to do in the game, they were like, okay, we're not going to give you more time to fix the game and make it the perfect game. Because the first game got 9s and out of 10s and 10s out of 10s. It broke the mold, right? And the second game had the 8s, a little bit of 7s. I think it was still a 9. I just haven't beat that one yet. I haven't beat the second game. I beat the first one years ago, well after it had come out. And then I think I beat it on the 360. And then I bought the other one on the 360. And I just never got to beat it. I got stuck in a section. Also a game I plan to get back to one day. Super fun. If you guys want to see me stream that, I can stream from the beginning since I don't remember the story. Or I can stream from where I'm at and continue on. It would be pretty hard. I'm pretty damn far into it. I know that for sure. So important context, to take off of what he was saying on that Twitter post was that the game was funded by a bank, not by EA. They had a bond finance structure. The development team had full creative control, but not on the scheduling. So it had to be released when it was released. They had to deliver it. They delivered it on time and on budget, but they didn't have that extra time to polish because that would have cost more money. And again, he wasn't listening to their notes. So they were like, no, we're going to make it easier on you. Just release the damn game. Now let's get to some of the movie stuff. We're going to balance it out with the games. You know how I like to, merge them two as seamlessly as possible. But we have another movie coming out with Michael B. Jordan producing and possibly starring that's going to rival Call of Duty. Now, I believe we talked about it last week. I put it on here again because of the dates that the news continues to come out. But Battlefield, the movie's coming out. Michael B. Jordan, again, will produce and star in it. And Christopher McQuarrie will be the one directing. Christopher McQuarrie is the guy who was involved with Mission Impossibles and movies like that. So there's going to be a big action-packed movie. And it's being shopped to people like Sony and Apple. So those two studios have great quality films. And really excited. It's not going to be like that Gears of War movie that's going to be straight to Netflix, unfortunately. At least I think it's unfortunate. So Michael B. Jordan, he's already in the Rainbow Six type movies. I believe he's going to do Rainbow Six. He was in the Tom Clancy film on Amazon. He does have that, that connection with Amazon that he's doing all the Creed films moving forward with and things like that. So again, he's a busy dude. His production company's out there. He's starring in left and right. He's about to be in a cartoon on Netflix. So, and he just won the Oscar. So he's making bank. Not only all of that, but that Miami Vice movie that we talked about a couple weeks back has a title, Miami Vice 85. So they're going to stick with the 1980s vibe. And it's starring Michael B. Jordan and it's starring Austin Butler, who played the guy in Dune, who played Elvis, who was in Disney back in the day. So that's gonna be major. Michael B. Jordan is gonna have a run the same way Zendaya's on a run now. Just he's in everything and everywhere all at once, and people are either gonna get sick of him. I hope I won't. I'm a huge fan of Michael B. He's one of my favorite actors out right now. And because of the hype with this movie, Miami Vice 85, they're going to keep it with all of that went on in the TV show. They moved the date early. So this movie's actually switching release dates what would have been The Mummy 4. Not the Mummy movie that Dro saw last week, the super scary movie. But from what I'm hearing, they're going to make a Mummy 4 with the Brendan Fraser, The Rock, Scorpion King, that type of movie. So that, again, he's moving. The Miami Vice movie has been moved to May 19th, 2028, 2 years from now. 2028 sounds like it's 20 years from now, but that's besides the point. And the movie is going to be about Tubbs and Crockett, undercover detectives, based on the 1984 to 1989 TV series. And then The Mummy is going to move to October 15th, 2027. So we're going to get the Mummy movie first, and then we're going to get Miami Vice after. Rush Hour 4. We talked about it coming back because of the president of the United States saying, hey, director dude, you worked on my wife's documentary. What would you like to do next? He said, yo, I want to do this Rush Hour movie. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And he's like, say less, we got you. And so he said the word. Paramount was like, whoa, the president said it, we got to do it, right? So they planned on it. Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, they got the call. They said, hey, we'll give both of you $8 million. Let's make this movie. Both of them just said no. $8 million in 2026 is nothing. Chris Tucker made $20 million in early 2000s to make these movies. And in early 2000s, $20 million is more than what $20 million would be today. So you want him to make even less now than he's making then. Now, again, Chris Tucker's not the big mega star that he was back then. Jackie Chan's also not the biggest star that he was back then. He's older. He's in a bunch of Chinese movies now. He's back doing, great movies out there. I think there's a movie, I believe it's on Tubi, that I want to see about a panda that came out a year or two ago. It's a family film. I'm waiting for my son to not be so damn busy. That's a busy kid. So once we have time to sit down and watch a movie, I want to watch that film with him. And so they aren't the biggest that they were. $8 million is what they originally offered them. And they both were like, nah, that's way too little. But the potential that this movie can make, people want Rush Hour. It doesn't matter. You saw how many people go in and watch Bad Boys 3 and what was that? Bad Boys for Life. And they're going to make Bad Boys 4 soon. Crazy amounts of numbers. And it was always Bad Boys and Rush Hour. It was always, those two, right? So this movie's going to make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Give both of these men $25 million. Give them both $25 million. I think they would say yes. $25 million today, what with inflation is probably $20 million back then. So maybe they want 30, 35. I don't think both of them are $50 million. That would be insanity. But $100 million for the two stars, I don't even know if it's not worth it. I think the movie will make, $200 million. It won't be $1 billion movie. And the way movie theaters work, from what I've learned, I'm not, I don't work for the movie business or anything like that, is if a movie costs $100 million to make and then makes $200 million in the box office, that really means $100 million that they made, right? So they didn't break it. They just broke even. So $100 million for both of them 50-50, way too much, because that's not even considering marketing. That's not considering the location, the set, all the other actors. So again, $25 million to me makes the most sense. And then they could do all of that. They could film wherever the heck they want and what have you. So that is what I'm hoping they can end up agreeing to. And then when the movie goes out and, the whole budget for the film will be like $150 million, makes 200, makes 300, still breaking even. But if it makes 500, now we got our franchise back. How could they do it with both of them being as old as they are right now? I have no idea. Will it be one of those movies where they have people under them that they're training up to take their place? Hope not. Kind of like what we thought was happening with Bad Boys with that squad that they were doing back then. So who really knows? Um, they won't start filming until around September because again they haven't agreed to the financing. So if they start filming in September, a movie like this doesn't seem like it takes that long to film. And then once you mix and master and edit and blah blah blah, the movie should come out maybe late next year, early the year after 2028. So that should be exciting. Anytime you get a Rush Hour movie, that's a great thing. Um, the next thing is TV wise. There's a lot of TV news, a lot of video game TV news, just like that Battlefield thing we talked about earlier, just like Call of Duty that we talked about yesterday or last week. Far Cry, the TV series. We talked about this also in the past. But the most horrible, I don't like how that phrasing was. But the worst way you can talk about a film as a director is saying anything that makes it seem like you're not a gamer first. If you're in charge of bringing a game to life and bringing a game to film, and you make any kind of comment making it seem like you're not 100% a gamer, you don't live and breathe this franchise, it's a bad sign, right? So this guy, the creator Noah Hawley, he said, when playing a video game, cutscenes can be skipped. That makes the human drama irrelevant. That's a death for a show. He's basically saying you played Far Cry not for the story. You played it to skip the cutscenes, run around, shoot things, jump off of cliffs, and all of this other stuff. But that is so far beyond wrong. Dro would drop his jaw right now if he was here, because this is one of his favorite franchises. The story means so damn much, and me and Dro talked about it, back and forth in the group chat, because the story of Far Cry means so much. It may not hit for some people, but it may hit, for most of the people. They put a lot of effort into these movies. Into these games and the story of these games. They hire, super famous actors for the roles of the bad guys, because the bad guy is the focus. That's where I hope they don't mess up. The bad guy is the focus of Far Cry, not the main character. You want to make the bad guy lovable, scary. You want to make him antagonize. You want to make him likable. You want to make him seem like he's doing the right thing, even though it's super wrong. That's how you make a great Far Cry television show. Especially if they're doing an anthology and every season is going to be a different bad guy. The only way to succeed is to make every bad guy the coolest bad guy ever. You make people want to be the bad guy, but also be like, whoa, dude's doing really bad things. Maybe I shouldn't, right? So that's how you do it. And to say people skip cutscenes in video games and just want to get to the action, maybe like 10% of people who play video games do that. Like, because what's the point for that? Just play Mario or play Mario Party or, Mario Kart, something that has no story at all. These video games nowadays are very story heavy, and the story is what sells the game. These are an interactive medium. It is film that you can play, right? That's at least these types of games. Not every game is like that, but the only game I will agree that you could skip cutscenes and skip are the games where they don't have voice acting. Pokemon. I'll read maybe the first hour of what Pokemon's about, and then I'm just pressing A. I'm like, I don't feel like reading. I'm tired of this. Or whenever Professor talks, or whenever big things happen, but I'm not reading every time I run into somebody to battle. Those are the games that you skip. I just want to collect the Pokemon and beat the Elite Four, catch the legendary, call it a day. So I'm not familiar with the Pokemon story, but the people who played the Pokemon or that watched the Pokemon movies, those people played the games and played for the story and understood, the world and things like that. This guy doesn't seem like he understands the world because he skipped the story. All he knows is that The game's in a tropical place, someplace beautiful and colorful, someplace outside of America. And even that's not even true no more because of Far Cry 5. So, it's just in a set piece land. And hopefully he understands that the bad guy is the main focus. I'm scared now for what Far Cry, the TV show, could be. Even though Rob Mack is in it and he's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I think he's hilarious. I think he's, talented and creative. I'm a little scared now because of what Noah Hawley said. How you going to say somebody's going to skip the cutscenes and it's basically irrelevant? Blows my mind. That's not how you sell a show about a video game. And they've done it before. They did it with Mass Effect. They talked about, we're potentially writing this TV show for people who aren't gamers. So why even name it Mass Effect? It is a franchise video game that was so story heavy. It was one of the first games that was so story driven. The fact that your choices in game 1 went to game 2, went to game 3, and you had a whole trilogy of story it is one of the only games that still has that in it. So to say you're writing the game for somebody that is not familiar with the game, I don't understand. The people that are watching are because they love the game. The new people that will watch is because they like sci-fi. And this is a sci-fi story that they never experienced because obviously they never played the game. That's why they're not in it for the game. So why will I want to make my Mass Effect game anything like Star Wars or, Star Trek when it has its own story there? Don't try to just put the name on something. People annoy me. That really sucks. And I really hope that is not the case. I really hope that's not the case. Getting back into gaming, the Last of Us Online game that was canceled a couple years back, once Bungie came in and said, Bungie, who was hired by Sony to look at all of their video games and give their honest opinion, Bungie was like, hey, this Last of Us thing don't seem like it's going to work. I think they think that there's going to be a lot that people are not going to attach to. It's not going to be a live service game in the way that people are going to play over and over and every single day, the same way that people were playing Fortnite at the time and Destiny and games like that. And so they canceled it. We all know that. But to the real OGs that played the Last of Us factions back when the first game came out and they did have some multiplayer in there, that game was pretty damn fun. There was some crafting in it. Even though it was multiplayer, it was still a capture the flag, shooter, just, out there, not capture the flag, but you guys get what I'm saying. And so we know how it should work. And for it to expand into a full game, it's because when they made The Last of Us Part 2, they were like, yo, we keep adding things to this multiplayer. Why not just make it its own game? Because we have so many dope ideas. Let's make it its own game. And they were making this its own game, which means they were confident enough to not just throw it into the back of the single player game and just make one game with both, like most games did back in the day. They don't really do that no more. But imagine that. Imagine they just make Call of Duty a 3-hour video game, sell that off, and then the multiplayer and make that a separate game. Just because they had so much. They tried that with Black Ops, 3 or 5 or something, where they just made it complete multiplayer, no story, and that was the one Call of Duty game I never played. But people are still talking about this Last of Us faction game that they canceled, saying that it would have been one of the best multiplayer games ever. These are from the people that were making it, that are still devastated, saying it's going to be one of the best multiplayer games ever. That's two things. One, horrible to hear. Right? Like, why are you throwing it in our face that it's the best game ever and then it's not coming out because they said it canceled? So you're just rubbing it in our face that at least you got to experience something that nobody else is. I think it's messed up. Two, that means I kind of find it a little bit of Bungie being jealous. I think Bungie was like, yo, Sony's coming to us. Obviously, they think we're the creme de la creme. Let us go in and monitor all these other games. Then they saw Last of Us Faction, was like, whoa, this game's pretty damn dope. It's going to be better than the game we're making, Marathon. It's going to be better than, any Destiny game that we've made so far. we gotta get this out of here. We can't have this kind of competition in house, right? Because now we're part of Sony, and I think they kind of sabotaged that. And Sony, not realizing, was like, "Yo, whatever y'all say, we hired you guys to let us know." I think it was a backhanded way of being like, we want to be the big dogs and we can't let them be the big dogs. And they had a good reason to kind of justify it. Hey, if Naughty Dog is making a long-term multiplayer, ever-growing, everlasting, evergreen game, then they can't make The Last of Us Part 3. They can't make Intergalactic, Heretic Prophet. They can't make another Uncharted. They can't make their single-player games with that same team. Of course, they could hire another 100 people, but one of the two is going to lose something, because either the people that made Factions amazing and their story of Factions amazing are going to stay there and not be able to go here, or we're going to just hire a bunch of new people to continue Factions on and they could ruin it. So do you guys want to be known as the Factions team forever? Or do you guys want to make more single player games like Intergalactic and potentially Uncharted and things like that? I mean, Naughty Dog's already said peace out to Jack and Daxter and, all these other games. Just the same way Insomniac said bye to Ratchet and Clank to go to Spider-Man. So that makes sense why they would cancel that. But if it's the best multiplayer game ever, you're just rubbing it in our face that we're never going to experience that. And that really sucks. So I don't like hearing that, but it is what it is. Another game that was canceled according to rumors and also dispelled really damn quick was the Venom video game. According to Miles Morales, the guy who voiced Miles Morales on the podcast, I didn't write the name of that podcast down. Not because I don't want y'all to go listen to it. Go look it up and go listen to it, because you get the full story there. But they canceled the Venom video game after the voice actor died. And once the voice actor died, they were like, okay, cool. We were going to do a spin-off game where we're going to have him in other stuff. But he was the creme de la creme when it came to that Venom voice, right? According to them, because there's other people that have played Venom before. He's not the voice in the movie, but they canceled it. Let's see. Hold on. I want to give him his credit. Venom voice actor. Nope, not Tom Hardy. Come on, Google game. Tony Todd. I didn't want to say something different. I knew it was Tony something. But Tony Todd, who was also in those Final Destination movies, when he passed, the game was quietly canceled. But then more rumors come out saying it's not canceled. They put in a lot of work on these games. So just to cancel a game because one voice actor passed away, now I understand he's the main voice actor. But the same way when Black Panther passed away and Chadwick Boseman, was no longer the Black Panther, they still had attempted to continue the Black Panther story, and now they're recasting the Black Panther. Same thing here, especially because the Venom was only a small chunk of the Spider-Man 2 game. He did have his own section, and he played a main character towards the end of the game. I believe they still could have continued on and honored his memory. Maybe giving a reason why his voice might sound a little different, or find somebody that sounds exactly like him. I mean, when you think of movies like Kung Fu Panda, and they do the Kung Fu Panda show, or, everything they did with Madagascar, and they did the Penguins cartoon, they didn't use Jack Black. They didn't use all these characters. They did voice actors that sounded similar. And sometimes they did sound similar. I think the guy who did Poe in the Kung Fu Panda TV show sounded like Jack Black, right? So you can do that, and, they will be able to gracefully make that transition. So hopefully that's what they do. But right now they're working on Wolverine. So maybe Venom comes next. Maybe they move on to something different. Maybe they just skip Venom and go straight to Spider-Man 3. And if they go to Spider-Man 3, they're gonna have to say something about why Venom might not be there, why Venom is there. You know, the same way they did with Batman Dark Knight when they went to the last one and Heath Ledger had passed away. So they got to do something there to honor him, but also to make everything right, because they can't just stop making games featuring Venom. Venom is such a pivotal character to the Spider-Man ethos that you can't just stop because unfortunately the voice actor passed away. So we'll see what happens there for sure. One of the big news that I wanted to talk about was the big update with Xbox. If you guys haven't seen it yet, there's a new Xbox logo. It will probably be one of the 3 thumbnails that we use here when we do our A/B testing. We'll see if that one wins and if it continues. But if not, go look up the new Xbox logo. It kind of looks a little bit like the iPhone, like when the iPhone apps and the iPhone icons, where it kind of looks like glass and then you see light through it. So it's been 2 months since the CEO changed, and the lady has already dropped Game Pass from $30 to $23. We talked about that last week. They announced the new Project Helix, which is the next console. They rebranded the Xbox with the new logo. They threw away this is the Xbox marketing, where it was their TV's the Xbox, your phone's the Xbox, your dog's not an Xbox, that marketing, they threw that away. They said no to low quality AI content. So there's not going to be that much AI, stuff in video games or in the advertising. And the ladies on Twitter left and right just interacting with people, trying to talk to them. So everyone is now coming to like Asha. Is that her name? Damn, you guys know me. CEO of Xbox. We look things up in real time since I don't have everything. Yeah, Asha Sharma. So everybody was a little weary of her in the beginning, but now everybody's loving her. So we'll see what happens. You guys know how I feel about Game Pass dropping. I should love it. I don't love it. They took away Call of Duty from me. I don't think that's right. Just let me keep paying $30 and let me keep Call of Duty on there, right? That's how I feel. Couple more good stories. Let me throw this in here real quick. This is super positive. We don't get many stories like this. But as my weekly Crimson Desert talk, I haven't mentioned it so far. I went 37 minutes without mentioning the Crimson and the desert. But the developers Pearl Abyss gave everyone who worked on the game, there's over 700 employees, which I learned after the last episode. They gave them $3,400. I heard some places it was over $5,000, but here they gave them a bonus of $3,400. The game has sold so well. They're in the green. They're made a profit and then some. And so they were able to just give everybody a bonus. How cool is that? Most companies would have just pocketed that. CEOs would have been like, yo, cool, our game did great. You guys are awesome. Let's work on the next one and just move on. But nah, this dude was like, yo, you guys really did your big one. Here's some extra one. It's not even Christmas time. It's not like they could say it's a holiday bonus. They just did it for the love. And that's awesome. That should make you want to go play that game even more, make you want to go support the developers even more. Do so, because the game's great. I'm still almost 7 days in with that game. Full days, 24 hours. I'm like 6 hours and 10 hours. 6 days and 10 hours. So that is incredibly awesome news, honestly. Other great news for everybody but me. They've announced the new EA Sports UFC game, UFC 6. They announced the 2 cover artists. And since I'm not a UFC person, I don't know their names. We're going to find out right now. UFC 6 cover art. Those 2 people are going to be Alex Pereira is going to be the cover of the main game. Light heavyweight champion. I have heard of him. And the ultimate is going to be, no idea. They don't have it here. What kind of Max Holloway? I've also heard of him. I think I've seen him fight. I think I've seen both of you guys fight, and I don't watch UFC like that. I'm a boxer guy, which is where I come into this story and why it's here and why I'm not excited. Where's Fight Night? Where's Fight Night? EA is getting bought out by Saudi Arabia and, that whole conglomerate. Saudi Arabia is real big in the boxing world. They started their own freaking Zuffa stuff, right? But before they did the Zuffa, they were just with boxing. They could literally do, and they also own Ring Magazine. They could do the Ring Championship, whatever. They could call it that. They don't have to be Fight Night if they don't want to call it Fight Night. But this could be Fight Night. You still own Fight Night. Make a freaking Fight Night. My hashtag for the last, I don't know how many years, 10 years, every time I see something UFC related, I go in the comments and I hashtag Fight Night or Fight Me. That's the hashtag. Fight Night or Fight Me. So every time you guys go into anything and you see UFC news, hashtag Fight Night or Fight Me. Please, I'll make sure I like it. Tag me in it too. Tag Unlikely Geeks and we will like your Fight Night or Fight Me comment. Because these people need to know that there's a market for this. You got Undisputed that is now making money hand over foot, milking and diming everybody. I bought Undisputed when it was in the beta era, like before it went officially sold everywhere. I bought it that early. That's because that's how bad I wanted a boxing game. It wasn't the best then. Then when it came out full stop, they were like, hey, if you bought the beta, you have to rebuy the game again because of all this blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that. Now they're adding new fighters every couple months, and they're charging another $20, $30 for these fighters, for 5 fighters. They're milking and diming everybody. If you want to get the entire collection, you have to have spent over $200 by now. That sucks. So, and it wasn't even to Fight Night's level. Like, I still go back and play Fight Night Championship. I still go back and play Fight Night round 2 and 3 because those are my two. Really, I can't even say which one's my favorite. 2, 3, 4 champions. I love them all. But they need to come back and do Fight Night. Fight Night or Fight Me. Hashtag Unlikely Geeks. Let us know that you're listening. And let these people know at EA. Because they could literally do the Ring Magazine belt, and it just be about that. I don't want them to do a Zuffa video game. I don't think Zuffa is big enough. I don't think they have enough fighters that people want to play as. I think they should do the Ring Magazine. Let's talk some boxing real fast. Ring Magazine is not these are the best heavyweights for this belt. The WBC top 10. They do top 10 for everybody. So whether it's WBC, WBA, all of that, WBO, they just pick the top 10. So they have access to all of the fighters. It's not like you're doing a WBC video game and you only got to do the people that really work with WBC. It's not like you're doing a top rank game and you're only doing fighters that are with top rank or fighters that are with Matchroom, which are promoters for that specific, brand. It's not like Def Jam. Def Jam was fighters, not always, but people assumed they were fighters that were signed to Def Jam and that were associated with Def Jam. So you're not going to have somebody that was in Sony, music or that was with Motown in a Def Jam game. Here, if they did a Ring video game, they don't really have to worry about that. They can literally pick from anybody. And we see that fighters are willing to do it because they're in Undisputed. So why even have another UFC game? Did the last one even sell that well to justify making a 6th one? I get their new fighters, just update it. It's not like they make this game every year. It's not Madden. It's not 2K. I'm very upset. Fight Night or Fight Me. Remember that. Now we're going to end off with a couple of TV news stories. This one's a new one for everybody listening, but I enjoy these YouTube series like The Amazing Circus and Has Been Hotel. Let me see. It's Amazing Circus, right? Amazing Circus. Yes. The Amazing Digital Circus. I knew I was missing something. It didn't sound just right to me. And Has Been Hotel. Both of these shows, if you haven't watched them on YouTube, watch them on YouTube. Um, and Hell of a Boss. Hell of a Boss is amazing. All three of these shows started on YouTube by YouTube creators and now have gotten big platforms. You got Has Been and Hell of a Boss on Prime, and Amazing Digital Circus is now going to have their last episode ever. I think they're like it was just one and done, but their last season is going to be on in theaters. So they sold like 1 day tickets to show the last episode or last two episodes in theaters before it even comes out on YouTube for like a week early. It's going to be incredible. The show is great. The quality is great. The comedy is great. It's these thought pieces, especially Digital Circus. But Has Been Hotel has been confirmed that it's going to finish with season 5. And Has Been Hotel is still in season 3. So that's great to know because now we know the show won't just get canceled in the middle of the run. And I personally hate when that happens. Shout out to Southland, my favorite cop show ever. We talked about it on YouTube. And that show just ended in the middle of its run. We know that won't happen with Has Been Hotel. Now they have an opportunity to close out the story and to announce 2 more seasons before season 3 even came to be. Awesome. They didn't say nothing about Hell of a Boss, but it is what it is there. The TED show on Peacock. So Peacock, right? Or Paramount Plus. Peacock. And the TED show is incredible. If you guys have Peacock and all you watch is Twisted Metal, I recommend watching TED. You may not have liked the movie. The second one was, whatever. But the show's hilarious. It shows a prequel to the movies, and it shows a high school kid, the main character, Mark Wahlberg's guy, as a kid and with the TED doll. The thing with the movie is, or the thing with the show is, TED costs millions of dollars to make look real, right? The CGI looks great. And so it costs so much that it's basically a movie every episode. The price of a movie every episode. So they don't know if they want to do a 3rd season. So the choice is basically, do they do a 3rd season? Do they cancel the show completely just after season 2? Or can they make a movie and like close it up, like 2-hour movie and just close it all up in a nice bow and let it run into what would be the first TED movie? So we don't know yet. By now we should have had an answer because usually when streaming movies come out and streaming shows, they go and they announce 2 weeks later, sometimes 2 weeks before, hey, we're going to give this another series. Same way they just did with Has Been Hotel. So we don't know yet. And that kind of sucks because I'm currently watching TED. It's not a show I can watch, I can binge because it's a lot. The show's pretty, out there when it comes to some of their storylines. It's funny as hell though. Super funny. I recommend everybody watching it. I just have like 1,000 shows that I watch, so I gotta bounce around. Last 2-3 things. The Boys, the spinoff, Gen V, canceled. Out of here. Done. Over. The Boys is finishing. Like in what, 2-3 episodes? So the fact they canceled the spinoff, not a good sign. Maybe they don't need the spinoff no more because those characters are gonna be, they're gonna reintroduce them into the last couple episodes of The Boys. And so they're going to play a big role there. And maybe after that, there's no need for another season based on how the show ends. But it kind of sucks. That was the version of The Boys that was in a college. So you got to see more frat, more of the love stories, that kind of like comedy, college comedy kind of deal, right? Just with superheroes and vulgar, crazy, over-the-top action and gore and all of that. So that's done. I think it was partially a little bit because that one of the main characters had passed away, I believe due to a car crash before season 2. And the way they wrote him into the story and made him still a character. I never finished Gen V, but I did watch a couple episodes, so I saw how they try to honor him there, which is great. But those kind of things take a toll. They probably were like, oh, I can't speak for them. I don't know. But for me, it would be like, hey, where we were planning on going, we try to work with it for season 2, but now season 3, whatever, plus the main show's ending, maybe there's no point of continuing this. But in hindsight, they had another show planned, and that was Vault Rising. That was going to be Soldier Boy and one other character, I forget her name, but there's going to be a prequel, and it's going to be those characters, not Soldier Boy, but if you watch the show, there's a character, Soldier Guy, Soldier Boy, Soldier Man, Soldier, the Soldier. And he is now, getting their own spinoff, and is going to take place in the past. Is going to be pretty dope. So The Boys is not over as a franchise, but the original show and the first spinoff is over with. Maybe this next show has another spinoff, and the franchise just continues and continues, and will be everlasting like Scooby-Doo. Speaking of Scooby-Doo, I didn't plan this one, so I have no notes, but they are doing a Scooby-Doo on Netflix, and they announced the cast, and a lot of people don't like what the cast looks like, but they never like what the cast looks like. They say, oh, it's whitewashing, everybody's white, but they were white in the cartoon. They did change everyone's ethnicity in the Velma cartoon. Everybody hated that too. Velma was Indian, Shaggy was black, all of this. So they hated that. So they went back, and on the TV show, they made them all white again, and people hate that. So you just can't win. So whatever. I'm going to watch it. It's going to be like Riverdale. Is going to feels like that type of vibe, just with the age of the characters, and just assuming what they're going to do. It'll be Netflix's. I think it's a Netflix show. It's going to be their Netflix version of Riverdale. Could be cool. Coyote vs. Acme, the movie that I have been waiting for forever. They canceled it. They made it a tax write-off. They were like, well, this movie will never see the light of day. Ketchup, the company that bought the Looney Tunes End of Earth movie, that happened. The same thing happened to that movie where it was canceled, thrown out, and would never see the light of day. They bought the rights to that. They showed it. The movie was decent. My review is on Letterboxd. And now they're doing the same for Coyote vs. Acme. Wile E. Coyote is suing Acme because everything that he's buying to try to capture the Roadrunner has malfunctioned and hurt him. So now he's going to court, and he's trying to get his, revenge. Will Forte's in it. John Cena's in it. Daffy Duck's in it. Tweety, Bugs Bunny. That movie is going to be awesome. I cannot wait for this movie. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. The trailer's out. Go watch the trailer. We're done showing trailers in here unless we 100% know we won't get taken down. And I feel like for this one, we will get taken down. And final story, not too much to say here, but we got like 8 minutes left. Hard Eyes 2 is coming out February 11th of 2028. And Hard Eyes was my favorite Scream movie of the past couple years. And of course, it's not a Scream movie, but basically the same thing. Go watch Hard Eyes 1. The movie was so good. So it's coming out again. Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding are going to return. So that's a good thing. And yeah. Now, if you guys notice, that's the end of the show. But we got a couple minutes left, and I didn't catch you guys up on my week. I just went straight into the show. See if you guys like this way more, where we get straight into the show and then talk about what we're up to, or what. You just let us know in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about Unlikely Geeks, because I'm sure they're an Unlikely Geek as well. You see behind me, that new little statue, I kind of rearranged what I got going on back here, but let me show you. This is the Mario Kart trophy. So me and my son now play Mario Kart every time I have him. I have him for a full week, twice a month. So, with that 50-50. And on the 50-50 where I have him for the full week, we will be playing Mario Kart 3 whole circuits. So each circuit's 4 rounds or 4 races. We do 3 of them. First to win 3. Not best out of 3. First to win 3. It could be 6, 5, 6 games, whatever. I am the champion this time. I won. Not only do we have to beat each other, we play on 150 because we played a new Mario Kart. They don't have 200. So we play 150. And not only are we trying to beat each other, but we're both trying to beat the computer because we want to get gold in the game itself. And in a lot of the later circuits, we don't have gold. We have silver on all of them. So our goal is to compete against each other, but at the same time compete against them. So if I see that he's winning, I will let him win, right? I'll let him win just to get that gold unless I know I could beat him. But I can't do that every time because then he goes home with our trophy. And the trophy will end up going to his room for the 2-week period, and then it will go in my room, when I win. And so right now, it is in my room. I am the champion. And if you guys have never seen this trophy, this says Best Father. He got me that for Christmas. And it looks like Mickey Mouse directing, which is why I have the Warner Brothers directing thing, which I got when I went to LA. And finally, let's just show off a bit. This is my first trophy ever. This is Glamour Baby 1995, Baby Boy New York, Mr. Photogenic. I was the most photogenic baby in all of New York in 1995. I don't know what happened either, but I just wanted to let y'all know that at one point I was adorable. That's why my son looks the way he does, because he's an adorable child and royalty, right? So there's that. I'm real excited for what's to come. Like I said, I'm trying to go get Soros this weekend. Hopefully I could get that and play that. I don't think I'm gonna stream it because I still haven't gotten used to how to stream on the PlayStation and the Xbox Live. Maybe I'll pre-record it if I could figure it out. Maybe I bring the PlayStation upstairs and play on this big television here that I have in our office, in our studio. So I don't know what to do, if I will do that or not, but I'm going to play it regardless. I'll tell you guys all about it on Monday when we come back. If I do get, do purchase it. Tomorrow, Dro and I will sit down and talk about everything coming out next month. Movies and video games and everything. We're going to talk about everything coming out in the month of May, because at the end of the month, you guys know that we always do 2 episodes or 1 long episode. But here we're going to do 2 episodes. So let me know again, guys, if there's anything that I missed this week that you wanted our opinion on. If you want Dro's opinion on anything I talked about, ask us in the comments. I'm sure he'll go in the comments and reply and give you guys his thoughts. And, I want you guys to keep enjoying everything y'all doing. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in. It's your boy Yambo, one half of the Unlikely Geeks. And until next time, go out there and save the world. Peace.